Is it real?
We good? Are we live? Hello,
Hi!
hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Senshi Con or Senshi Online, whichever we're doing. Cosplay Myths Podcast. Today we have a special guest joining me and Deborah, and that is Corgi Cosplay, Nicole, along with Kiba and CL. Can Nicole unmute herself now?
Hello, hello. Can you hear us, Nicole?
Yeah. No, I can hear you guys.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Oh.
So today we're going to be asking Nicole a bunch of questions, not just about how she got into cosplay, what it's like to cosplay with pets. But first question of the day is, how are you doing and how are the puppers doing?
I am doing really good. The puppers are doing good. Most of them are just kind of napping right now.
Oh yeah,
as you see Daisy.
Yeah.
Yes, the cutie.
Yeah.
She looks very happy right now.
Yeah, my third corgi that most people don't see. Is kind of, I guess, in a foster phase right now with me.
Mm-hmm. Very cute. She looks very soft too.
Oh yeah.
Yes, she cute.
Have you ever just kind of like laid on them like as pillows?
If they let me, yes. Sometimes they're like, okay, this is cool, like whatever, and then other times they're like, oh, cuddles, go away.
Yep. How dare you touch me, human?
Yeah. All right.
I guess we can go and get into the swing of things. So what got you into cosplay?
Well, I always thought it was really cool, like ever since I saw it. And of course, like at the time, all I saw was like San Diego Comic-Con was kind of like the mainstream con that everybody saw. Nobody knew like about all these little ones and stuff like that. It's not until you get into cons that all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, there's like tons of tiny ones, that happen all the time. So, but I saw pictures from it and stuff like that, and I was just like, oh my God, these people are dressing up as these characters and bringing them to life. And I was like, I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. And yeah, so kind of just started from there.
Nice.
All right. So you have currently two dogs that are cosplaying, Kiba and CL.
Yes, though Kiba is more so on retirement at this point, just because he's 10, he's gonna be 11 later this year, and yeah, so he's old man. I don't want to put too much on him, and it's one thing like if we're guesting at a con and we have a table, then he can just relax. But if I just attend a con and I'm walking around, that's just stress on his joints. So I'm like, yeah, we'll play it by ear for him.
Which is something that brings up another question. What is it like cosplaying with a animal, with a pet or a service animal? What are certain things like you take into consideration, or just in general, what's it like?
So there's a lot I have to consider when it comes to certain costumes. Like there's so many costume ideas and a lot of ideas that friends give me, like of really, really cool characters, and they would translate well in dog form. But the thing is though, is I also have to take them being able to move, you know, if they're going to be comfortable wearing something. A lot of dogs, it's kind of like getting a toddler to try and wear clothes, and they're just like, no. So it's something they have to work up to, especially if I start introducing like helmets or hats and stuff like that, or things that are like more so like on their butt. It's weird feelings to them. But the biggest thing I have to take consideration is their movement. And they're going to roll around in this costume. They're going to run into things. They're animals. You can't tell them, they don't understand, like, no, you can't do this. They're just like, I can't do what, and then just roll over and crush everything. And you're just like, oh well, there was a lot of work and now it's broken.
Is that why a lot of the costumes you make are like, from what I've seen, they're mostly like cloth?
Yeah, I try to stick mostly with cloth just because I can wash it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
that's
especially
true.
having corgis, they're close to the ground. But
Yeah.
but when we're at a con, the ground's dirty. People are walking all over it, or if we go outside for potty breaks or something like that, they lay on the ground or the dirt, or they've laid on asphalt and stuff like that. So I do have to think like, okay, how can I clean this? Because that
There's
is
a lot of
always,
logistics.
yeah, there's always, oh my god, there's so much dirt. Like I did the Ets. My friend's service dog we met at WonderCon, and she did her dog as Bowsette, and Ciel was Bouette, and then Kiba was Chompette. And and it was a really interesting one, but like by the end of the day, the poor white dress was like had black all over it, and I was just like, well, thank God I didn't make it. Luckily, it was just one that it was like a dog wedding dress I found online and bought. And I was like, cool.
Nice.
So it was like on Amazon dirt cheap. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And it washed fairly well. But yeah, it's always a learning experience with each costume for sure.
Yeah. So are there any costumes that Kiba or CL have like been like, no, no, double no, not happening?
um I haven't really got any yet. Just because like I think the most difficult one I did that I knew was always going to be like a tough one for either of them to wear was the Master Chief outfit. Just because it's armor and it's
Mm-hmm.
full, it's a full helmet that covers everything. It limits the eye space, like their visibility, peripherals and stuff like that. And um, so that one I had to do a lot of workup before it was ever worn at a con for Kiva for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So he can get used to it. He can see that he can still breathe and move around, and he can still drink while it's on. So yeah, that one took a lot of working up for him to be able to wear. CL as well, I've tried putting it on him, and he was just kind of like, what? um so luckily for him, the costume's to Kiba size, not, and CL's bigger than Kiba now, so it won't fit him. But so far, like I've messed with hats since then and all kinds of stuff with CL. So he's totally fine with it now. Like the only costume CL has right now that actually like really fits him is a crewmate from Among Us. And so, I bought a full red dog bodysuit that zips up all the way from literally from his butt all the way down his chest. And so it completely covers him all the way up. And it's got a little turtleneck and stuff on it. But then I bought him doggy goggles, and I spent so much time trying to find the right like look to them and stuff like that. But yeah, he, just because of all the hats and stuff I've put on him over, he'll be 3 in June. So ever since I got him, I've been putting stuff on him because I knew that eventually I'd want him to get him into cosplay, and I knew what I had to go through with Kiba getting him used to everything, and hats was a big one. So I've constantly put on like headbands and little party hats and all kinds of stuff. So the goggles going on, he was just like, okay, whatever. And I happened to be, the first time I got the goggles, I happened to be at my best friend's house, and she's got 10 dogs. And he wore the goggles and the bodysuit and just played with all of them like it was nothing. And I was like, okay, cool, we're good.
Okay. Hey.
Hey, if it works.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I always try to take what they're comfortable with, not so much what I want or what I think will look cool. It's about them.
For sure.
Huh.
I love the idea of just both the dogs running around your home with little hats on, and the hat stays on, and then it falls off and gets like back on, off, on, off, on, off. It's just like
I don't know if I uploaded it, but we went to a dog park with one of our friends that has a corgi, and it was for a birthday party for her corgi, Mabel. And of course she brought like little tiny like small size party hats, you know, and they're human, you know, they're for humans, just little tiny party hats. But if you tie the string at the bottom so it's a little bit more snug, you know, and that's what I was doing. So I put one on Ciel, and then Mabel ran off while we were trying to take a photo of them. So he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go play too." And we were laughing because he was literally running around and wrestling. And this party hat's still right in between his ears. We're just like, what?
He doesn't care.
No.
I guess he likes the hat.
Yeah, he's just like, "Oh, this is mine now." Huh. Come on. Come here, Ciel. Come here. Yeah, we're talking about you.
Have you ever put? I don't know if I've seen any of your photos for it, but have you ever tried putting like booties on them? Like, how do they react to that? Hello, Elle.
Yes, this little Ciel. Well, not so little. They do have shoes, because we do live in Arizona. And one being a service dog, he's there, you know, well, Kiba has shoes too for his size, but you know, they're always at my side and stuff like that, you know, because I need them. And so, you know, I can't carry I think Ciel's almost like 50 pounds at this point. Or at least over 40, a little over 40. But he it's a little hard to carry that in and out of stores, especially with groceries and stuff like that. So yeah, he does have shoes. So shoes are a whole other thing as well. Same thing like with toddlers, trying to get them to keep shoes on is ridiculous. Because it is all new to them. Dogs are used to feeling everything with their feet. They also sweat actually out of their feet. Yeah, little tidbit. And so so it is really weird to them to wear shoes. But with a lot of encouragement, a lot of treats, you know, they eventually got used to it. Kiba will throw a fit. Like if I stop or something while he's wearing them, he'll actually throw himself to the ground and just be like, and then just stare up at me like, "Why do I have to wear this?" Ciel's more just like Ciel's my happy-go-lucky dog. He's just like, "Okay, whatever. Mom's happy. I'm happy."
Oh,
Stinky pup.
Yeah.
yeah. I remember when I met Kiba. It's been like 4 or 5 years ago. A while back, it was back in LA at AX Anime Expo. I met Kiba, and we had poked his butt, and he got so upset about that. He spun around and like did like "How dare you!" like but like a playful one, and I was just like,
Yeah.
"Oh." And then he threw himself on the ground. It was just like, "I'm done. I'm tired of it."
Yeah, Kiva's pretty dramatic. He is pretty sensitive about his butt though, just because going to cons, especially busy ones like AX, when we're walking around, if he sits, a lot of people don't notice him, and they have stepped like on his butt fur.
Aww.
And so then he gets up like, "Oh my god, they're gonna step on me," and then it pulls out like chunks of fur. And so he's just like,
"Oh baby,
my butt, my butt is under attack here." And I'm just like, "No, you're fine." "But it is." I'm like, "No, you're fine."
baby.
Yeah, so I've had to do a lot of it's been its own learning challenge with crowds and stuff like that, because that's something
Yeah.
we don't normally run into like when we go shopping or anything like that. Like usually people give space anyway. So yeah, cons are a whole other monster. And I know a lot of other like service dog handlers that their dogs are completely perfect and great, and then they go to a con and seeing like the fursuits or the full people in armor, like, and it throws dogs for a loop because they're just like, "What is this? You're not human." even if they can smell the human, they're like, you're not human, you're a monster, you are scary.
The nose and the eyes do not match.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
Yeah.
Like I think the first time Kiba ever met a furry was actually the very first con we went to, which was Phoenix Comic-Con. Well, it was called Phoenix Comic-Con at the time. I don't remember what they call themselves now. But the first time we met a furry, like he kind of like had this look like, what is that? And so the furry, like, kind of playfully got down on all fours and crouched down. And so Kiba went over and actually sniffed their butt. And then you can just see this look of bewilderment go across his face, and he jumps back and is like, and he's so upset by like what he's just like, I don't know what you are. You smell human, but you're not human. So he was so confused by that. And luckily after that con though, I made friends with some furries, and and they met him out of suit and then put on their suit in front of him, and he was like, oh, okay, now I get this. And so every furry after that, he's like, oh, okay. CL's first official con was actually a furry con, because I was like, you know what, you're not in a fear stage as a puppy right now, we're just gonna throw you in. And I'm really good friends with the guy that ran the con and stuff like that, so he didn't care. He's like, as long as he's not gonna go crazy, he's not gonna potty inside, that's fine. The hotel's fine with it. So I was like, okay, cool. And so I brought him, and he thought they were the greatest thing ever. He's like, oh my god, you're just a big toy.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's very much my happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, for sure.
But but yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I always did kind of wonder like how you like prepare any animal to go to a con, because like even for people, cons are like, holy moly.
Yeah, because there's the lights are usually different, being in one of those buildings, compared to like lights at home or outside. Plus the lights actually give off a noise. And then you have all the sounds of the people, and especially in a vendor hall, it's usually really echoey. Plus all the scents of people, or of vendor stuff and stuff like that. There's and then their sense of smell being so much higher than ours too. They're smelling they're smelling everything that's in that con, unfortunately sometimes. But
yeah,
we've all been there.
Gaming room.
Yeah. So it's very much a sensory overload for them. That's why, like, when people always ask me, they're like, oh, I want to take my dog to a con or something like that, I usually say, start with like a farmer's market or something like that. And then also one of the big things too is that a lot of the buildings are not pet friendly. So you do have to take that into consideration. There are some cons at some hotels that are pet friendly. Like we have one local, Sabotin. The hotel itself is actually pet friendly. Kiba, what are you doing? What are you chewing on over there? Are you chewing? Did you find a napkin? Weirdo. Oh, never mind. He's trying to chew the fuzz off of a toy. Okay. He was just over there just like, just like throwing his head up. I'm like, what are you doing? Weirdo. But yeah, so back to that. So yeah, a lot of the buildings are not pet friendly and stuff like that, but there are usually a lot of stuff to do outside and hang out and stuff like that, which is also another great way to kind of get them used to the crowds and stuff like that. So it is, you can't just instantly just throw a costume on your dog and think that they're, everything's gonna be fine, because it really isn't. You really have to take it almost in a I'm trying to think of a way that someone would understand, almost like kind of like a baby or a toddler going into a place for the first time. And mentally, yeah, dogs are, pretty much kind of at that level as toddlers anyway. Um, but it is overwhelming. And you also have to think about it. Okay, if I was sitting on the ground, sometimes you have to almost think of things in their perspective too. If I'm sitting on the ground and I'm looking up at all, like literally walls and walls of people, it's one thing when we're eye level with them. It's a whole nother thing when you're down below and you just see all these legs moving back and forth, and it's just a constant stuff moving, like nothing ever stops. So, like I can tell you, even guesting at a con, when people come by the table, and Kiba is, or well, CL for the most part just kind of sits there, but Kiba will pass out on the table and stuff like that. And it's usually just for him to kind of unwind and resettle himself and regain his energy, from the overload. And then especially even after con, he could spend all day napping on the table. And then after the con, we'll kind of walk around a bit so he can burn off, some energy and play a little bit. But then once we get to the hotel room, he's out. He'll be out all the way until the morning and wake up and be like, okay, let's go, I guess. And people always ask, like, is he okay? And I'm like, he's okay, but but a lot of people don't understand the sensory overload that they can go through. So yeah, farmers markets are great. I'm trying to think any other outdoorsy, kind of pretty much anything that's like outdoors that has a lot of people usually at it with tons of different smells, are usually the best places.
Fairgrounds?
Oh, fairgrounds. Fairgrounds again though usually are not pet friendly. They'll do service dogs only. Just because there's usually other animals there and stuff, and then also liability. It's a
I was kind of curious, like what you meant by pet friendly. Like,
okay, so pet friendly is it's kind of hard to explain. So like your PetSmart, Petco's, a lot of your pet stores, some Home Depots, some Lowe's, and I think some Hobby Lobbies are considered pet friendly stores. If not, just because it is a huge liability to the company themselves if a dog comes in and happens to bite somebody or anything like that, it is a huge liability to that business. And so and pets are not held to the same standard as service dogs. Like the hoops I have to jump through to have a service dog, and all the training I've had to essentially pay for them is crazy. Like it's way above just the basic obedience. Besides being task trained to perform tasks to help me mitigate my disability, they also need to be almost bomb proof. So like I've gone to Disneyland and the fireworks are going off and stuff like that. That usually will set off any dog.
Yeah.
But a service dog needs to just be, they can be aware of it and be cautious of it, but they can't lose their shit over it. It's just got to be like, okay, that's scary, but I'm doing a job and I got to focus on this job. Whereas most pets aren't held at that same level. So pet friendly places will allow a pet on any kind of training level in. Whereas if they're not pet friendly, but still open to the general public, then a service animal can go in.
Okay. I just, my mind, like, I think I knew that, but my mind was also just like, oh, they have convenient areas so that the pet can go and relax and use the bathroom without having to run outside really fast.
Oh, yeah, no. No, unfortunately, we've never been that lucky. And that's another thing with service dogs too, is they have to learn to hold it. Even if it's like an 8-hour day, they have to hold it and at least know when they have to go. They better let us know and hold it until we get to a spot that is safe. Um, so it is it is, yeah, it's never that convenient. I've had to wait in the line sometimes with Kiba, even though he's like staring at me like, mom, I gotta go, and I'm like, dude, we gotta hold it because we're trying to get out this door, but there's this huge mob of people also trying to get out this door. And at that point usually I kind of just pick him up and hold him once, that way nobody steps on him and stuff like that too, but kind of help him so he doesn't accidentally have to go or anything like that.
Yeah.
For the most part though, yeah, Kiba will hold it all day at a con if he has to. I've also have done that too. But
Same.
yeah,
Yeah.
you guys know what it's like being busy
Yeah.
at a con and you're just like, "Ow, whenever I find a bathroom, we'll be
get
good."
there. After
Yeah.
this one more event or this or that or that, and then it's like
Yeah.
4 hours later, like, have I?
You're like, "I have to go to the bathroom," and someone's like, but we need your help over here," and you're like, "Okay, I'm going over there now."
Yeah.
And that's how it ends up. Like you're at the end of the con and you're like, did I eat anything? Did I drink anything? Did I go to the bathroom yet?
Yeah. I've had Rebecca hunt me down to make sure I've had water and eaten during a con.
Oh
And
man.
like everyone's just like, watch out for Rebecca. She's coming. If you haven't had water, you better drink.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, it's uh
But
oh, like I guess whenever.
our yeah.
Our disembodied voice is messaging us. So
Yeah.
That throws out for a loop.
The text of God.
Yes. Scary.
But yeah, so yeah, it's never convenient. There's never a spot where we could just be like, oh cool, we can go over here. And I've also noticed too with a lot of cons, there's never really an area that's like a quiet space.
Mhm.
I have seen some cons introduce like quiet rooms, which have been really cool. And usually like if we're, especially for like myself and stuff like that too, because I know if I usually get more overwhelmed before either one of them gets overwhelmed. Um, but I always try to find, like when I'm attending and stuff like that, like a spot off to the side to kind of like sit, relax, unwind. I found sometimes in vendor halls even, where it's the less populated areas and stuff like that, and I'll just go off against a wall and just kind of sit there and veg out, and then usually, you know whichever one is with me, we'll sit there and take a power nap, because they're like, okay, cool, mom's sitting, she's relaxing, okay, I can relax, I'm gonna take a power nap and take advantage of this break. um
Yeah.
yeah, so it's always an experience, and it's always, I'm constantly having to think of something else. Every con I go to, it's always like, okay, next time I need to remember this, or tomorrow I need to remember this.
It sounds like you're a person who runs a con. That sounds like us. Every year it's like,
yeah.
we must remember this. We must remember that. Did we plan for this? No, let's plan for it next year. Why is it always the thing that goes wrong is the thing we did not plan for?
Yeah, and it's usually that random thing too that you're like, I don't think this is actually gonna happen.
Yeah. That is my life as a panel coordinator.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is almost kind of like its own little management system in itself. And I do have to advocate for them a lot, because sometimes people will just come up and just start petting on them and messing with the costume, because they want to love on the dog. And and a lot of times it's fine. I'm pretty lenient, like out and about on my normal days. I'm like, no, they can't be pet, they're working. At cons I'm a lot more lenient, because I'm like, you know what, I know that I'm get overstimulated, I know other people get other stimulated, and sometimes they just need a couple pets on a dog to kind of like refocus. And I'm like, okay, if I guess if we supply that little bit of service while we're in here, and CL, I don't know if he has the ability yet, but Kiba will constantly keep focus on me. Even with people loving all over him, he still will watch me. And if I move, like he'll sit there and be like in the middle of a pet and be like, oh, this is so great. And then, but if I move, he's quickly like, is it okay, mom? Or is everything okay? You know, he's constantly like making sure and everything like that and watching me. And so, you know, I do have to work with that on CL to see if he also has that same kind of focus. But unfortunately, 2020 was supposed to be his year of cons.
Yeah.
And so that really didn't really get to happen. You know, because everything before that, CL always had Kiba as backup. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I always had I always had the extra, you know, I had Kiba to make sure that, you know, to still perform jobs and duties and stuff like that. Just in case CL, you know, was lacking. And CL was still kind of in training and learning and stuff like that. So so it was okay if he missed some alerts and stuff like that. But yeah, so 2020 was supposed to be his year of just him going pretty much guesting, or really kind of going out of town for cons and stuff like that. But yeah, we all know how that happened.
Yeah.
It is still happening.
Yep. 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 Well, moving on just a little bit. I believe some pictures were being shown of Kiba. They were the first there were three sets of pictures. Kiba as Zelda, as an Assassin's Creed, and then as Deadpool. And I love the Deadpool one.
Yes. Yes.
Because he's like
so
fast asleep with a
cute.
little unicorn, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
That was actually a really fun photo shoot too with that one. Because one of my photographer friends, Cortex Studio, who actually took that one and the Assassin's Creed one. But yeah, so I will say about the Deadpool one, in the Deadpool universe, there is the Deadpool Corps. And it is made up of Deadpools from different universes, and in each universe he's not Wade Wilson. He's something else. So, you know, there's a kid pool, there's a lady Deadpool, there's actually a champion pool, which is kind of, yeah, and there's dog pool. So that's where that came from. And I actually based the costume around that, because I've had some people be like, oh well, there's things missing off of it for, you know, Deadpool, and I was like, this is actually Dogpool's costume, which I've actually had Rob Layfield, you know, I've met him before, and he was like, actually this is the most accurate dog pool I've ever seen.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay. Even though he wasn't in charge of the Deadpool Corps, but you know, he still created Deadpool and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so that photo shoot was actually really fun. It was actually like a business area that we went to. And so of course, like on lunches and stuff like that, businessmen were coming in and out, and they're just kind of like stopping and looking at us like, what are you guys doing? But we were doing all kinds of things. Like I even brought like a frozen like bean and cheese chimichanga, and so Kiba got to eat that. That photo of him laying with the unicorn was actually after him running around a bit in the grass and rolling in the grass, which is like, which goes back to, you know, making sure, you know, clean and stuff like that. But yeah, he just got done running around and rolling in the grass and stuff like that. And so he was a little bit tired, so it was like easy just to kind of like plop him over on his side. And then I just take the little unicorn and I just shoved it underneath. I just picked up his paw, shoved it underneath, and I was like, there you go. Just don't move. You're dead now. So yeah, it was a really fun little photo to do. We actually got tons of photos that day. And I have them saved in a Google Drive. And they haven't really ever, I need to start posting all of them because there were some really cool ones. We found like this alley with a bunch of graffiti, like really cool art graffiti all over and stuff like that. And we're just like, okay, this is cool. Let's take photos here. And we found all kinds of things to go take photos at. And we had Kiba running up and down stairs playing fetch with a plastic knife. And
Nice.
What do you have? A knife? No.
Bad dog, bad dog.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the photos from that are pretty funny. And then I also bought like this plastic like grenade. And I wasn't sure if it was too big like for his mouth or anything like that, but I tried like rolling it on the floor, and he went and got it and brought it back, and we're just dying laughing. And then so I did it again, and that's when he got the photo, because I was just like, I don't know, let's see if he'll play fetch with this. Oh, why not? So there's a photo with him with like a fake grenade in his mouth, just trotting toward us. Just like, oh god.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh.
Please post
Oh,
that
don't
one
do
day. That would be hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely, yeah, I will. After this, I'll definitely go on the social medias and stuff like that and post it.
Please. Oh my god. It's amazing.
That actually brings up a question I have. Is there like any environment that Kiba has just kind of looked at and went, no? Like, because I see like he's in the city, he's got like vegetation around him, and then he's like at the beach for the Assassin's Creed one.
No, I haven't really found anything. Kiba's pretty fearless. Like see the butt moving back there. I'm like, what are you? No, he's actually pretty fearless. And so nothing really like bothers him too much. And you know, I've done tons of balance training with him and stuff like that. So I've placed him on little poles and stuff like that his feet just barely all fit on and stuff like that. And so he trusts me. He knows that I'm not going to put him in a situation that would possibly hurt him. So he's just like, okay, if Mom's cool with it, I'm cool with it, whatever, let's do this. And I'm like, okay.
I imagine it's probably taken a lot of time to gain that trust with Kiba throughout the year.
Yeah, it does take a lot to gain that kind of trust with a dog, where they know that they're completely safe with whatever you ask them to do. I will say, for people that are looking at like training their dogs to build more trust, like those kids tunnels, like little tube tunnels or stuff like that, those are great for helping train that, because they usually feel weird underneath their feet. They're also in an enclosed little space. And it also makes sounds, it also rolls and stuff like that too. So it's really nice having them have to go through it to come to you, to help build more trust and stuff in you.
The knowledge that at the end of this tunnel, my person is there. My person will be there.
Yeah, my person will be there and I will be safe. You know, sometimes you kind of have to coax them and toss like treats all the way through the tunnel. So they have to like kind of go like, ooh, piece of candy, and come through it.
Yeah.
But after a while, they're just like, oh, okay, like my human's not putting me through danger, even though this seems scary. They're not putting me through danger, and this is actually fun.
Nice. Yeah. There was a question I had, and it totally flew out of my brain somehow. And it was a really good one.
Also, what you think about that one? How is Kiba? Is Kiba looking forward to retirement?
He has been, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of burnt out. You know, and overstimulation leads to stress and stuff like that. And so, you know, it is stressful on them. And so, you know, even though he takes it all like a champ and is just like, whatever, this is just my life. I got this. You know, I know it still takes its toll on him and stuff like that. Like he's definitely grayed a lot earlier in his life than he should have. You know, but he's just like, yeah, no, cool, I'll stay home, you know, and just relax and stuff like that. You know, I am interested to see, like, once everything goes back kind of to normal and we have cons again, seeing how, like, me leaving, how he's gonna take that. Because I do have friends that will dog sit and stuff like that. They're just like, oh, you need someone to watch Kiba? Okay.
You
Yeah.
have like the laundry list of, okay, so it's your turn now. It's your turn now.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
So so yeah, I definitely have an issue there with anybody watching him. But it is gonna be interesting to see how he's gonna take to like me actually leaving and going. Like he did last year when I went to oh man, what was it called? The Corgi Con in New Jersey. It was actually CL's, it was CL's debut as him as a guest and not, as Kiba. And hence why 2020 was supposed to be CL's year. Maybe that's why everything happened. But there's
World
no
wasn't
blame
ready
CL.
for, yeah.
Yeah, they just weren't ready. They couldn't handle it.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was his first con going to and stuff like that. And one of my friends ended up taking Kiba and watching him and stuff like that. And he had so much fun with them. I don't even think he realized that I was gone.
No.
Because also them being corgis, they are very smart and they know that they're usually smarter than people. So they will train you. And I mentioned to them, I was like, he just has to get, his daily hip supplement and stuff like that for his hips and joints. And and I was like, but he should be pretty good unless he has a hard day of play. He might have a little trouble getting up and down like your little bits of stairs that you have. And he totally played into them. Like they only had like probably like, I don't know, it's probably like 6 steps. And then they have like a landing and then like another like 5 steps. And he would literally stop at the edge of the stairs and just sit there and just look at them and be like, well, I want to go up now. And then make them carry him every single time. And I'm just like, wow, you guys got played hard.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, sport dog.
Yeah.
Dog.
My mom has a dog that does that too. Oh my gosh.
They're just so extra. Oh my god.
I would totally be that person who would carry Kiba up the stairs every time. I already admit it. I would be like, oh, you need to be carried up. Okay, we carry you. No
Oh, so
questions.
many people would. And I'm just usually like, no, I know you can do it. You just ran around the backyard. Get your ass up the stairs. And he goes, fine.
Yeah, that's
my gosh.
that's the difference between mom and babysitter.
Yeah.
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 True.
All right. So moving on to the second set of photos. These are of CL. Oh, and he's got the Zelda outfit in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little Spider-Man outfit, and then I love the one of him as the child. He's all green. How did you get the green? Is that like a photo effect, or did you
Yeah, I photoshopped it.
Okay.
I was like, you had like everyone always like, of course before the child came out and before Grogu came out, everyone always like, oh my god, you got huge ears like Yoda, ha ha ha. And so like of course then, Mandalorian came out and then we got to meet the child and and stuff like that. And I was just like, this needs to happen.
Yes.
So I literally just was sitting, it literally against the backdrop behind me, and just took a bunch of different photos of him, kind of just looking and I just went over, with some Photoshop and just colored him in. And it took a while to find like the right shade of green on it, but yeah, it was. Maybe one day I'll actually make him a little like actual like cloak and stuff like that so he can be.
Oh, you can make a little lightsaber too that he can carry around.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Touch the lightsaber.
Well, I'm just thinking about that too, and I'm like, oh my god, I have a doggy stroller too, and I could totally make like a shelf for it to look like the little basket that he sits in.
Oh
yes.
Oh my god.
That would be amazing.
Oh my god.
They could just ride around all.
Now I'm like,
Yes. So CL is actually bigger than Kiba?
CL is actually, yeah. So in the photo of him as Link, it fits Kiba fine. It's actually a little bit loose on Kiba, so it's a little bit easier to take on and off. In that photo was is probably the last time CL ever fit into that costume, and it was snug. Like I'm pretty sure if
Yeah.
CL would have moved just right, he would have pulled seams.
Ooh.
So he didn't wear it for long. Like I got like a couple photos and then I was like, okay, let's change out into something else. And then with that one too, you know, I did some Photoshop and of course put them in Hyrule. So and then there was another photo that I got as well, like of him in front of like in Hyrule Field with like the gates to the castle and stuff from Ocarina of Time. So I had a lot of fun with Photoshop with him because I was like, you know what, I can do this. Like, why can't I have a little bit more fun with this?
Yeah.
And then even on the Spider-Man one, the buildings in the background and the little Spidey senses are photoshopped in there.
Okay.
I love it because it's like I feel like that's kind of a cosplay thing is you get the costume and then you insert yourself into a photo with like the perfect background.
Yeah,
And
it's definitely
like
becoming
perfection.
more common. You know, sometimes it's hard depending on where you live and stuff like that to get the right environment to look like you're actually in, you know, in a place in the game and stuff like that, you know, or sometimes you have to drive, you know, 2+ hours to get somewhere that's more ideal. And a lot of people can't afford to do that, you know, so a lot of times it's easier just to Photoshop it in if you're able to, or if you have a friend that's able to. You know, it's sometimes it's cheaper just to do it that route.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're in Alaska where it's snowing and you have snow everywhere and it's like, well, that not gonna match a great deal of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be in hell where everything's charred and black and you're dead and you're just like, we got snow and green.
Not even green. It's just brown, I think, in some most places.
And gray in others. So it's like you got white, you got gray, you got brown.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, Photoshop is definitely a lot easier for a lot of different things, even if it's just putting in like little aspects and stuff like that. And they amplify the photos a lot too, especially like, you know, ones that have like attacks and stuff like that. Like if you're doing like a Todoroki, you know, and you have fire in one hand and ice in the other, and you can add the extra little effects like embers from the flame coming up and stuff like that, or you know, or if you're doing like a Kakashi and you put lightning in the background or something, or yeah. So you know, it definitely amps photos up, you know, and makes them look more, I guess, to the character, to the anime and stuff like that.
There's a little bum in the back.
Yeah, there's a daisy butt back there.
Yes. She's just slowly scooting back more and more.
What are you doing, weirdo?
Gotta find the perfect spot.
Yeah, pretty much. Ugh. My weird children.
I love how you describe them as toddlers, and it's like as you talk about them, it's like, yeah, that sounds like toddlers.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. Come on. You can come up.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Look at that good boy.
a good boy.
Hi, Ciel.
All right, and going on to
Into
the
a help. Oh, good.
going on to the last set of photos, it is two photos. One is of Kiba as Spider-Man and CL as Deadpool or Dogpool. And then family picture.
Yeah, so cute.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't really ever have I don't think I've ever done a costume. No, the only costume that, and I don't really have many photos of it, and I should have sent it over. I think the only one that I've ever done with both of them is when they did the Bowsette and or not the Bowsette, but the Chompette and the Bouette.
Mhm.
And I did Wario with them. Just because my friend with her
Oh.
service dog did Bowsette and she did Waluigi. And of course, like, we had so much fun doing those ones because me and her would just go around and be like, wah! And of course, we're screaming it. We're just like, wah!
Of course, that's the most appropriate thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then of course
You
we're
have
coming
to.
up with like all these puns and stuff like that. Like, because you say a lot of things to your dogs like as we're going, and I'm like, what are you doing? So I'm like, what are you doing? So we were having way too much fun with it. Like way too
No
much
such
fun. And like we had to. We're like, oh my god, these are dumb and they're ridiculous. And this is just fun to be dumb and ridiculous for once. So I think that's the only one I've actually had where I like did something like with both of them. And of course now Kiba being retired, like it's just gonna be, one-on-one again. And I have the one of me as Roadhog and Kiba as my Junkrat and stuff like that. Sorry, he's licking my hand, just going to town, doing his thing, whatever. I has flavor.
He's doing the dog thing.
Yeah. But yeah, so that photo of CL in the dog pool was actually the day that Stanley was announced for his passing.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, I have Spider-Man, and that was, the character he created and one of his biggest loves. So I was like, okay, we'll definitely need Spider-Man. And I was like, okay, CL, I guess what could you wear? And I was like, I just had like a few things. And I was like, okay, fine, you could put on the dog pool. And of course at that time, I think CL, he was under 1 at that point. So he was still really young. But yeah, so that photo kind of is like extra special in its own way. But it is still really cute.
It is.
It is adorable. I likes it.
Or maybe I think he was just over 1. I can't
No, it's
remember.
He's a baby.
Yeah, he's still a baby.
Yeah, he looks pretty small in the family photo too. So it's just like, wait.
Except
Yeah, and that
his
one he's
ears are
Kiba's
huge.
size.
Yeah.
Like only within the last year has he actually outgrown Kiba. So like
Okay.
all of Kiba's costumes, I don't think any of them fit. The only one that might still fit might be the Spider-Man one, just because
Mhm.
that was already pretty big to begin with. And that one was just bought at Petco and stuff like that, and I added puffy paint on it and to add more detail and stuff. But
Mhm.
I think that's probably the only one out of Kiba's that would fit CL at this point. So
I guess you're starting from scratch, eh?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The only costume that was actually ever made for CL was the Among Us one, and so yeah, everything is gonna have to be start over and make all new costumes for him. So I'm excited for it. It's gonna bring all kinds of different challenges, and any patterns I had for like dog clothes, I'm gonna have to change them, and because of course all of my sizings are to Kiba, and so everything's gonna have to change and upsize and
I'm assuming lots of test runs too.
Oh yeah.
a lot of what?
A lot of test runs.
Oh yeah. Making dog clothes is a whole nother monster in itself, because I've literally have measured, like I can measure like 3 times and make sure I even give like a big chunk of seam allowance, and then I even sew it with giving it a little bit of a little bit of a seam, And so that way, even if it's bigger, I can always take it in, and it still usually sometimes doesn't fit. And I'm just like,
How?
I know.
Yeah.
Or the fabric doesn't lay right, so then it doesn't like, or it doesn't like stretch right or anything like that. Or the neck hole is just slightly off, and so it literally won't sit right on the body. So like the arm legs will be further up on their chest instead of further down. And I'm just like, I measured all these measurements and they're supposed to be good.
They were good. They were good when you took them. And
Yeah.
It's been a week. Or
Yeah.
even a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like the last costume I was actually gonna make for Kiba was, I was gonna make, you know, of course, when Overwatch was still, it was still pretty big, but when it was really big, I was gonna make Kiba a diva costume. And I was actually gonna do like the full like little armor pieces like it's supposed to have, and not just one big fabric piece. And my friend even drew up, did all the logos that she has on her, but dog themed.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, cool. Like I can get all, you know, I have those now, so I can put those on there and have it all literally fit to Kiba. And it was, instead of like, it's Diva's name is spelled D.VA. And so I was like, Kiba would be K.BA.
Yeah.
And I have made that costume 3 times. And none of them really fit quite right. Yeah.
I feel that.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, because at least humans are a little bit more like, a human is a human is a human. For the, you know, for the most part, like our arms are where our arms are, legs, head, you know, like we have a base look to us. And you know, and then depending on your size and measurements and stuff like that, you can change there. You know, pretty basic, but every dog is different. So even if I get a pattern for a dog, and then corgis on top of it are such a weird shape anyway, they're not normal dog shaped.
Yeah.
Little
So
feet and their little
so I go
brown
from, yeah, so like they're like long, but then they're short, but then like everything about them is just these weird proportions. And so yeah, like patterns just kind of, I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna wing it. And I've had people ask me like, oh my God, can you make a costume for my dog? And I'm like, unless your dog, I can see them constantly. I, and even then it's it can still be you know, a hit or a miss.
Yeah.
You know, so I usually go, no, I don't really.
I thought it was amazing when people were making costumes for themselves and they can like sit there and measure and measure and measure, but I'm just like, now it's like, oh, I think dogs may take the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, dogs are a whole nother, like the beauty of it though is like, I can literally take, like if I needed black fabric and I have an old black shirt that I don't wear anymore, I can literally cut it up and I have enough fabric for a costume. Like I was actually going to do that. I was going to do the Breath of the Wild link for Kiba, which is now eventually going to happen for CL. But and especially with 2 coming out soon and stuff like that, I'm like, I really got to get on that. But I have a light blue kind of tealy shirt that actually would work perfect for material wise, and it has a nice stretch, so it would fit nicely. And I was like, man, I can literally just cut that up, and I have enough fabric to make the entire shirt for CL or Kiba even. So I'm like, this is great. Like I only need a little bit of fabric and it goes a long way. Whereas like a human, you know, like you got to buy yards and yards, and depending on if you're doing like a ball gown, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You're
Like 10 or plus yards.
yeah. You know, so it is. And then people are usually just impressed anyway that I don't have to go and add like tons of little details and stuff like that to the costume. People are just more impressed that a dog is wearing something, you know, whereas on the human, like you usually, especially if you're doing competition or anything like that, like you're like detail, 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 detail.
Yeah.
But I usually still do that though. Oh, it's also National Love Your Pet Day. What?
Oh
I
my
guess
Oh,
I
is
love you guys.
goodness.
Oh, perfect. I got my cat right here in front of me. So
My
she
cat
came
is,
in like,
my cat is beside me taking another nap. So
nice.
Oh.
I will love on her later.
That's fine. Yeah, halfway through the video, if you saw me like fumbling around, that was because my cat was trying to rub up against the cording for my setup. And then she also decided she was going to play with my hands. So I'm trying to stare at you guys while not getting bit. And now she's passed out in front of me snoring. So
Oh.
Yeah, that,
You wanna
that,
come
that
up?
sounds about right.
Come here, old man. Come in. Up. Come on. One,
was
two,
it
three.
keep this thing?
Yeah. Come in. You can do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Come here, Kiwi.
Oh, it's
Here,
a little
little man.
Kiba.
Come here. Up here.
Hi.
Hi, Kiba.
And Seal.
Oh, Seal can't let him have all the spotlight. Oh, look at the two good boys.
Oh, look at that.
And Seal's like, I got Chew. I happy.
Yeah.
Hi, Kiwi. Where you going? No, that's my leftover fries. You can't have leftover fries.
Didn't he try to go after them earlier?
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, you still have the fries over there, Mom. Did you know that? Even though he doesn't
But-
like French fries, he won't eat them.
Really? My
Oh.
cat loves French fries.
Oh, weird.
She loves, I don't know why, but she loves French fries. She specifically likes Wendy's French fries. She's okay with McDonald's and not a fan of Arby's, but she'll eat it.
Preferred fries. That's awesome.
She loves fries.
My Kiwi.
Cheese as well. We have a bag of cheese and she will, if you open it, she comes screaming at you. She's like, give me cheese. So does Kiba or CL have little ticks like that?
I don't know. They're so weird. Like now it's Kiba's turn to now apparently lick my hand.
What?
Do you have something on your
CL
hand?
chewing on
No,
the
I don't
background.
have anything on my hand. They're just weird like that.
And CL is chewing on something in the background.
Yeah. And now CL's like, I just got this chew to chew on. It's a Benabone or something I got them.
Oh, okay.
So CL's happy. He's just nom 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 noms.
Of
Aw,
course.
okay.
And Kiba's getting all the loves.
Mm-hmm.
I think you heard. Oh, right there. The good ear scritch.
Yes. So as much fun as we have been having, we do need to wrap this up. We want to give a big round of applause and a thank you for Nicole, Kiba, CL, and Daisy for joining us. Yes. And thank you, audience, for joining us for this week's Cosplay Myths podcast. If you have any questions that we might be able to pass along to Nicole, if she'd be willing to have extra questions, we email to her. Feel free to email Deborah at the email address
Provided below in the description for y'all. So
because
you guys know my name is complicated.
Yeah. Yep. But thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe, stay warm, because up here it's very cold. I'm guessing down there I've also been hearing it's cold.
We got a little bit of a breeze today. It's nice. It's short weather for you guys.
It's short weather for us. The rest of the world is like, this is freezing. We're frozen.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, you guys don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel. Look forward to seeing you guys again next week, though. Maybe one day we can kidnap Nicole again.
Not next week,
Yes.
the week
I've
after.
already told Braxton, I was like, hey, new dog, new guest.
Yes. Yes. You are always welcome. Please join us.
We just have to convince Braxton.
Yes, that's true.
She's like, hey, how much Sonic stuff do I have to bring up?
Ooh, make a Sonic cosplay.
Seal, you want to go fast? reaction's probably like, oh god, you guys.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night. Y'all will see you next time. Don't forget 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye. Yell.